my name's Morag Butler. Welcome back to Roslyn Court. This evening we have George Sansome and Matt Quinn. Yay! But not only that, we also have Jason Ajax Wisteria and Bob Kenward has dropped in. Yay! So everybody that's here is in the raffle, because you can't have a folk event without a raffle. You at home, you're in the raffle if you donate, or if you add to the live chat as we're going on, then I'll put your name in the raffle. And what will you win? Well, you might win a CD. Have you got a CD player? Or Who Gives the Crap emergency toilet roll. Yay! Very much in demand, right? We've got a lot going on, so I'm going to sing a quick song, but I thought we would show George and Matt what good singers we are here, so I'm doing one that we all know, okay? Yeah. Hopefully it's one that I know. Oh, the summertime is coming, and the trees are sweetly blooming, and the wild mountain thyme grows amongst the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together to the wild mountain thyme, all around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? Tower near yon cool crystal fountain, and Lord, I will grow there all the flowers of the mountain. Will you go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together to poor wild mountain thyme, all around the purple heather. Will you go, lassie, go? The sensitive one. If I did not have my love, I should soon find another to pull wild mountain thyme, all around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together to poor wild mountain thyme, all around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together to poor wild mountain thyme, all around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? Brilliant. Fabulous stuff. Right, we're going to get Jason Ajax Wisteria up to give us a poem.
Good evening. David, Jason Ajax Wisteria. It's not my real name. I just thought I'd say, but there's a history to it. There's a history to it, and as I was saying to Morag, any day soon I'm going to be doing that deed poll thing and adding Wisteria to my real name. So the story about this poem is that a friend of mine had this awful year where a number of his friends committed suicide. And so he got this idea together to put the book together of poems published in India, and it was done through a charity called Stretch, who have had a presence here in Margate, and a gallery space, in pop-up gallery spaces. So what I'm going to do, I'll just read you. I need my glasses. I hope I brought them with me.
It's all live.
But you know, that one's missing, but never mind. Adds to the quirkiness. I'll just read you what I get the right bit. Sorry about this. I did find it. Excuse the delay. Okay, sorry, fumbling about. So the thing is that that the whole point of the charity is that Stretch is that it's an opportunity for people to discover themselves through art, particularly people who have spent time in prison, and they've done some wonderful things. Now I got involved. I mean, I've only spent one night in a police cell, but I qualified. And this poem is about imagining that my brother had not died in the mysterious circumstances that he died, but that I'd actually saved him. So here is my poem, A Catch from Above. Not only friends, very much like brothers, mudlarks in the garden and the ditch, in faith and philosophy. Our similar paths and wide expanses, we'd fill them with fun and laughter, dreamy days and chemical, adrenaline and chocolate. Years after I'd missed you, I had this dream in colour, and we had separated and gone our ways. You had headed for a hilltop tree on an outcrop, and I'd taken the goat's path to the river, close by between ash trees and limes, and I created a shack from bark and moss. And using tools I'd found in an abandoned house, it was here I found a dog tied up and rescued him. I hunted with Dom and snared our dinner, and we danced among the rocks and roots by the river until we reached the sea. Here we found a sailing vessel with burgundy sails. We repaired the hull and set off towards anywhere. On a moonlit night, I could see your smiling face in a cloud, a star in each eye. Across the seas we ploughed a furrow, catching flying fish, and once ashore in a no-man's land, I met a mermaid, tall and pure, a flagon in her hand. She washed my beard and made me fish cakes, and next day, or so it seemed, it was a dream. On we swept towards who knew where. Dolphins, turtles, starfish all said hello. Then, in a low blue haze one morning, misty and turquoise and so fresh, we saw a bridge tantalizingly golden. Early birds screeched above us. On an instinct, I dropped the net. Deep and wide its blade. In the mists, all quiet. I thought I heard a haunted voice. Seconds later, an object hit the water above the net. A catch from above, I guess. It was a baffling moment, and then we hauled and struggled, and the dog and I pulling and straining every sinew, expecting tuna, but instead we found you, battered, bruised, and breathless, crying a big fat tear with wet hair in your face. I wanted another world, and I cannot say why. We hugged and laughed, and Dom leapt with joy to see us happy. Then, reaching in my pocket, I offered you that oyster shell, the one I carried through thick and thin for you, from our time in Sandwich Bay with Auntie Forbes in 1967, when we were young and blonde. Then after fish cakes and baked beans and a tram ride on the hills, we all set sail again. Time's winged chariot, guiding us back, but not in time, not dwelling on the wake. Nothing ever wasted, not one single tear or smile, and not one single regret. Then I knew, so much better, what love and friendship meant, and to embrace more often. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you. Okay, we're going to get Bob Kenwood up quickly. Hooray.
Okay. Right. Oh, nice to see so many people here, and nice to be back again. It's been about a year since I've been here, and probably even more than that. Lovely, thank you. I usually lower the tone, not. See, I've changed what I was going to do, so I'll do this one because it relates to the poem just gone. A song called "Love Is the Way." Wherever we're bound, wherever we're traveling, every town we pass through, love is around. When the world's unraveling, there to be found, there to turn to. Don't always know where life's leading, can't always show we agree. Love is the road we chose to believe in. Wherever we go, whatever will be, maybe we'll see that bright new morning. Maybe there'll be a sign to the highway of dreams, driving away into the distance. I gotta say one thing to you. Love is the way. Love makes the difference. Every day, everything we do. Every day, everything we do. There you go. Thank you. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to have more of Bob and Jason in the second half. Well, that's all the people who are here anyway. And now, we're going to introduce to the stage the most wonderful, again, George Sansome and Matt Quinn. They've both been before and we love them. Thank you.
Come all you maids that live at a distance, many a mile from off your swain. Come and assist me this very moment, for to pass away some time. Singing sweetly and completely songs of pleasure and of love, for my heart heart is with him altogether. Though I live not where I love, when I sleep, I dream about him. When I wake, I take no rest, for every instant thinking on him, my heart fixed in his breast. And though far distance may be assistance, from my mind his love to remove, but my heart is with him altogether. Though I live not where I love, all the world shall be one religion, living things shall cease to die, before I prove false to my jewel, or any way my love deny. The world may change and be most strange, if ever I my mind remove, my heart is with him altogether. Though I live not where I love. So farewell, lads, and farewell, lasses. Now I think I've got my choice. I will away to yonder mountains, where I think I hear his voice. And if he holler, I will follow around the world, though it is so wide. For young Thomas, he did promise I would be forever by his side. For young Thomas, he did promise I would be forever by his side.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here back at Rosslyn Court. It's one of my favourite places to play. I'm George, this is Matt, and that was a song called I Live Not Where I Love. And tonight we are living somewhere that we love. We're staying here. You got 3 claps there, Morag. What's that on TripAdvisor? 3 claps.
I'll take it, whatever it is.
Yes, a massive thank you to Jason and Bob there for opening up some lovely stuff. Anyway, yes, I'll hand you over to Matt Quinn.
Hi. So, we'll do this. This is a Scottish folk song. from the singing of a trio who I adore called Shepherd, Spears and Watson. That's Pete Shepherd, Tom Spears and Arthur Watson. And I grew up with folk music at home, and I always enjoyed folk music, but it was never something I particularly sort of felt inclined to sort of take up as a profession. And then Whitby Folk Week one year, back in, I suppose 2005 or 2006, I saw Shepherd, Spears and Watson.
I wasn't born then, Matt.
You weren't born then, yeah. Tee-hee-hee, George. Yes, you were. And I saw them perform a song, and I thought, oh, that's amazing. There's nothing sort of overly amazing about what they do. It's just all relatively straightforward stuff. I just thought it was amazing. I just thought it was wonderful, and it sort of changed my outlook on things, and I thought, right, that's what I want to be when I grow up. Old and Scottish.
I feel like half of that is quite easily achievable, Matt.
Yes. Might take some time, though. Anyway, this is a song from one of their albums called Night Visiting Song. And it is, in fact, part of a whole sort of collection of folk songs called the Night Visiting Songs, in which, and in this particular one, nothing bad happens at all. Which is rare for a folk song.
Do we call that folk songs? If maybe not.
Perhaps not. Don't worry, there'll be some absolute misery in the second half, in particular. That's a promise.
Sorry, live stream people, you'll miss out on most of the misery.
So here we go. Night Visiting Song. Although the night be as dark as dungeon, not a star to be seen above, it's over the high hills I will roam with pleasure into the arms of my true love. He stepped up to her bedroom window. He's kneeled down silently upon a stone, and through the window he has whispered softly, my darling dear, do you lie alone? She then rose up from her down wide pillow. She's lifted her arms from her lily white breast. Who's that? Who's that at my bedroom window, disturbing me at my long night's rest? 'Tis I, love, it is your own true lover. Open the door now and let me in, for I am come on a long night's journey, and I am near drenched drenched unto the skin. She then rose up with the greatest of pleasure. She's opened the door and she's let him in, and they were locked in each other's arms until that long night was past and gone. And when that long night was past and over, and all the small cocks began to crow, they've kissed and parted, he has saddled and mounted, he's sounded his trumpet, and away he did go. I must away now, I can no longer tarry. This morning's tempest I have to cross. It's over the high hills I will roam with pleasure, since I've been in the arms of my true love. Thank you.
Cheers. That was Night Visiting Song, and it's feels quite an appropriate one to start the evening off with. It's very rainy here in Margate, and that's the sound of the rain. You can hear it. But it's extremely cozy here, and I'm feeling very calm, and there's a nice vibe emanating from all of you lovely people. So thank you for bringing the vibe in and not all the water.
Yes. Continuing on the not miserable theme for a short while. This is not traditional, but the only one we do, I think, that is not strictly a traditional folk song. And it's Irish. It's written by an Irish guy called Alf McLaughlin. I'll see if I can do this succinctly. Alf McLaughlin wrote this song a long time ago. And he sang it at a party in Ireland. And at that party was the Irish traditional singer Eddie Butcher, who was an absolutely fantastic singer. And he loved the song. He loved the song that Alf wrote. And he wanted to learn it. So Alf had a friend who owned a printing press that could create sort of facsimiles of broadsheets of for the broadside ballads, broadsheets they were printed on. And so he got the words typed up and printed as a fake sort of broadsheet, as a broadside ballad for Eddie. And that was very well received by Eddie. But Eddie couldn't remember the tune that Alf had sang with it because it was only the words written down. So he wrote his own melody for it, which is relatively standard on the folk scene. If you can't remember something, you just make it up. I mean, that's...
Sometimes while you're singing the song.
And so he wrote his own melody for the song and sang it. And that's what Andy Irvine learnt and sang with his band Patrick Street. And consequently, that's the version that everyone knows. If you know it, that's the one that we all know. Well, in 5 minutes, you will know it. So anyway, it's a song about the perils of incorrectly labelling your outgoing post.
We're dealing with the big issues tonight, folks.
Yeah. long time ago in the county Mayo, this story it first began. Before this land was finally cured by the first economical plan, a brave young man had to leave his home and sail far over the sea. But he got well paid on the job and he stayed on the shores of America. He got on very well, but he sent nothing home, and his mother began to think that maybe he'd run away with a blonde or spent all his money on drink. She wrote him a letter inquiring the news and sent it straight away. And upon the cover she carefully wrote, "To me son in America." Now the postman collected the letter she wrote and drove in his van to Cork, where he placed it upon a ship at Cove that landed in New York. And there with the whiskey and everything else, the mailbags lay on the quay, and upon the rest was a letter addressed to me son in America. And American postmen, I needn't relate, they are rather like me and you. And when at last to this letter they came, they didn't know what to do. They looked up all the official lists and these had nothing to say. There was no directory could help them to find a son in America. So it laid in the office for years and years, and it gave all the boys a laugh, until at length it found some use in the training of the staff. For every new postman that came on the job, it was shown as Exhibit A that was insufficiently addressed to me son in America. Now the son he got older and wiser too. At last to himself he said, "Oh, how are things going with me mother at home, and is she alive or dead?" He walked round the block to the GPO, where he stood with his cap in his hand. "By any chance there's a letter for me from me mother in Ireland?" "Oh yes, kind sir, and here it is. We've been waiting for you to call. We knew that someday someone might come from Cork or old Donegal, from the 200 million that's living now in the whole of the USA. For a mother in Ireland we finally found a son in America." Thank you.
So, when he gets round to it, I'm just going to interrupt for 2 minutes to talk to the people at home to say, if you possibly are in a position where you can donate, please could you donate something towards this event, because we're a small independent venue, we haven't got any funding, and so we rely on people giving us their support. And I just thought, just to help you think about what you might send this week, you two, you've both come from Sheffield, and Sheffield is well known as the home of snooker. And a little research led me to find out that for £5 you can buy a book of snooker rules. The first one of which is "do not jump onto the table," which, funnily enough, we have the same rule here. So I thought if you could...
I wish you told me that before, Dan.
So if you could send us the cost of a book of rules, it would be really, really lovely. And it would be rate sound. Now, I looked that up. That's from Sheffield, that is. And sound is as positive as you can get in Sheffield, apparently. Yeah. There are no other more positive sounds than sound. Yeah. So can you tell us where the people who aren't in the room can get your CDs from, please?
Bandcamp is the exclusive place that they can get our CDs from. And if you go to Bandcamp and type in our names, it will appear.
Yep. And also, someone wants to know what instrument you're playing, Matt.
It's a mandolin.
I thought it was, but I didn't want to say something naff if it wasn't.
No.
Yeah, it would be embarrassing.
It's a mandolin made by a Jimmy Moon is a Scottish company that makes mandolins and
Excellent.
other fretted instruments.
Oh, well, there you go. You can
Some
get,
people
you can get
would.
yourself one. Yeah.
Some people would call it a ukulele, but those people would be wrong.
It depends how it's tuned, really. Right, thank you. Carry on. Carry on.
So, yeah, that song, Sun in America. We did an interview for a blog post that our friend was putting together recently, and she said, "Can you describe your music in one sentence?" And we said, "No." But it did get me thinking, and I said to my housemate, who knows our music quite well, how would you describe our music? And she said, well, you sing songs that are about love and about lost love and romance. You sing songs that are about death, crime, murder, misery. And I was like, okay, you're describing folk music, but sure. And then she said, and you sing songs about the US Postal Service and songs about geese. So you've had the US Postal Service. The goose might make a guest appearance in the second half. But, you know, do feel free to honk along to any of our songs. That's fine. No, sorry, I shouldn't say that because sometimes people take me literally on stage. So if you do want to make an animal noise, this includes people at home, if you want to make an animal noise, you have 5 seconds to do it, and then you can't make any animal noises for the rest of the gig. So here goes. Well, I'm relieved that you got that out of your system then. So thank you very much for doing that. Sorry, I've been looking after my 2-year-old niece a lot recently, and so I've been kind of devising a lot of games to keep her busy, and making animal noises is one of them. I have been driving Matt mad on tour. He's been doing all the driving, and I've just been sitting there on the motorway today. We were driving down from London, and a big trailer went past, and I said to Matt, "Look, there's a big digger," and he said, "George, please."
It's been a long week. And we don't get home till Monday.
Anyway, we'll do a song of lost love and romance. It's a song called I Once Loved a Boy. I once loved a boy, a sweet bonny boy. I loved him, I vow and protest. I loved him so well, oh, so very well, that I built him a berth in my breast, me brave boys. That I built him a berth in my breast. It's up the green valley and down the green grove, all like one that was troubled in mind. I called and I whooped, I played on my flute, but no sweet bonny boy could I find, me brave boys. Oh, no sweet bonny boy could I find. I look it up high and I look it down low, and the sun it shone a wonderful warm. When who should I see but my bonny boy? He was fast in another one's arms, me brave boys. He was fast in another one's arms. Then he stretched forth his lily white hand, for he thought I was at his command. But I passed him by, on him ne'er cast an eye. He thought I was bound in love's band, me brave boys. Oh, he thought I was bound in love's band. Then he took me on his dissembling knee, and he looked me in the face. He gave unto me
heart in another one's arms. Oh, the one that enjoys my sweet bonny boy. I am sure that they are not to blame, for many's the night he's robbed me of my rest. He never shall do it again, be brave boys. No, he never shall do it again.
Thank you very much. That was I Once Loved a Boy.
Right. The Irish, quite understandably, have a huge wealth of songs about emigration. And this is one that particularly sort of jumped out to me. About 12 years ago, I think it was, I was invited over to Ireland to sing at a couple of the singing clubs they have over there. The Golin Club in Dublin, that happens on a Friday night, and the Cork Singers Club, that happens on a Sunday. And I had a day off on the Saturday, and my host, who I was staying with, drove me to Cork a day early because on the Saturday was the Cork Singers Club Festival happening as well that same weekend. And the organiser of the festival spotted I arrived a day early and said, "Here's another €150. Do us another gig before your one tomorrow." I said, "Yes, thank you, please." And also performing at the festival that weekend was a singer called Barry Gleeson, who, if that name's familiar, his brother is Brendan Gleeson, the actor who's in The Banshees of Inisherin and in Bruges and Cold Mountain and Harry Potter, is the only one George has heard of.
That's what happens when you're born in
2012.
We will be open to guesses as to the years that we were born. We can do that in the Q&A session.
Yes, anyway. And Brendan himself is a great fiddle player, as proven in the film The Banshees of Inisherin. And he's a really good singer as well, but his brother Barry is equally as brilliant a singer. I was bowled over by his singing. And subsequently, years later, I managed to track down an album of his, which I was found out last week there's actually 3 albums he made, and I thought was only 1, so I better buy 2 more at some point. But the title track and track 1 was this song, which I was sort of equally blown away by, I suppose. And so, yeah, it's a song of emigration called Path Across the Ocean. There's a path across the ocean, there's a track across the sea. There are green sunny lands in some foreign country. I will leave my native Irish home and sail across the sea. But when weary I'll return to my own country. Why did I leave my home? Why did I cross the deep? Why did I leave the land where my forefathers sleep? I sigh for Erin shore as I gaze across the sea. Will I ever get a glance, lovely Erin, of thee? I hear no Sabbath bell to awake the Sunday morn. I hear no reaper singing among the yellow corn, but I hear a tyrant's voice and the wail of slavery. Yet I hear the linnet singing in my own country. Why did I leave my home? Why did I cross the deep? Why did I leave the land where my forefathers sleep? I sigh for Erin's shore as I gaze across the sea. Will I ever get a glance, lovely Erin, of thee? There's a sigh for every woe, there's a balm for every pain. Yet my heart is nearly broken sore till I return again to my own dear native Ireland, where I was bred and born. Then I'll hear the linnet singing among the yellow corn. Why did I leave my home? Why did I cross the deep? Why did I leave the land where my forefathers sleep? I sigh for Erin's shore as I gaze across the sea. Will I ever get a glance, lovely Erin, of thee? Will I ever get a glance, lovely Erin, of thee? Thank you.
Cheers. That was Path Across the Ocean. And Matt mentioned the Cork Folk Singers Club there, which is an amazing, amazing club. And a couple of years ago, I'm in a band called Granny's Attic. And thank you.
You're big in Margate, George.
No, I'm in a band called Granny's Attic, and we were playing at Cork Folk Festival. And the organiser of the Cork Folk Singers Club came to see Granny's Attic play, and he said, do you want to come and do a spot in the club tomorrow? So me and Quinn, the Squeezebox player, said, oh yeah, sure, we'll do that. And so we went along to the club, and he sent us an email the night before saying, don't bring any instruments, because it's a strictly unaccompanied club. And so we didn't. Well, I didn't take my guitar. Cohen brought his concertina just as like a bit of a pitch pipe to, get the note to start the song from. And turned up, and at the door of the club there was this guy, and he said, I'm glad you didn't bring your guitar. And then out of his pocket he pulls a pair of wire cutters. And so that it took a bit of convincing to let the concertina in, but they did. And we were sitting, in this circle, and Cohen had his concertina. He was sort of sitting like this. Concertina was underneath his legs, and he was occasionally reaching down to get a note from it to start the song from. And he'd also kind of reach down, do his shoelaces up, and he'd go to scratch his leg. And every time he did something like that, about 5 blokes around the room would just start twitching like this. It was so we decided to sing that song unaccompanied in honour of the Cork Folk Singers Club. It really is an amazing, amazing club. You should absolutely go if you're ever in Cork. But we'll do something kind of in honour of the Cork Folk Singers Club. It's an instrumental tune with no singing.
Yes. On to, this and, we'll play this and another one, and that'll be our first half done. This is a tune that I wrote, one of the most recent tunes I've written. sort of 6 years ago. I have splurges of tune writing and then large periods of not splurging, if you pardon the expression.
I'm not sure I will, actually.
Okay, all right. Talking about tune writing here. Come on. And all my tunes tend to have names that are sort of tune title versions of quotes from films. Films is my sort of passion outside of music, as anyone who's friends with me on Facebook will tell you. I bore them stiff talking about films. So I have tunes that are called things like Not in Kansas. Does anyone, what film's that from? Sorry, everyone at home, this will be really boring for you, but in the room, Not in Kansas. What was that? The Wizard of Oz, thank you. A Bigger Boat. That's Jaws, there we go, excellent. It's Alive.
Oh, over there. Someone said...
Frankenstein, very good.
There we go.
Excellent.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I got that. I've got it. That's When Harry Met Sally, isn't it? That's When Harry Met Sally. That's right. And so, yes, anyway. This is a waltz I wrote called Rosebud. Citizen Kane. Excellent.
Over the Hedge.
No one in this room's heard of Over the Hedge, George.
Sorry, that's stuff that... It's an animated film. I watched it with my niece.
But you're quite correct, Citizen Kane. Anyway, thank you, Rosebud. 1, 2.
Matt Quinn.
Thank you.
For the CD.
White. J-I-M. Jim.
Jim. Jim. You won the CD. Brilliant. Great. And for the toilet roll. Just out of interest, Kerry recognised your film reference on the live chat.
Oh,
yeah.
Excellent.
Glad to see that somebody's got good taste in films.
Yeah. It's on the white again. Jackie Chapman.
Hey, you got the new roll.
Hey! You got the toilet roll.
Right, we'll have one more song, please.
So, speaking of the album, we've got a brand new album out tomorrow. We are selling it today. Don't tell the record label. Yes.
Don't you own the record label?
No, but the album is called Sheffield Park, and we decided on a name for the album, and we thought what we should probably do in this internet age is Google it and check to see what comes up when you type in Sheffield Park before we, release it. And so we did that. We got the album printed, about 1,000 copies, and then we decided to Google to check the name was okay. Most people would do that before they get the album printed, but there you go. And so it turns out that we are not the first thing to come up. We're about 11 pages into Google. So the first 11 pages are Sheffield car parks, parks in Sheffield, and places called Sheffield Park. And we're on page 11. So if you want to find the album, go to Google and type in Sheffield Park and go through to page 11, and we're there. But we have actually been finding out on this tour of where there are all these places called Sheffield Park. So someone said there's one in Sussex, and then
Yeah. Someone shouted out Kent at a gig we did, and I thought, at least I think that's what they said. A bit hazy on that. I really hope that's what they shouted. But there is one in Kent, though, so I'm pretty sure they... No? No, okay, right. And so it's always difficult when researching folk songs, because a lot of the origins have been lost to just in time, because for the most part, a lot of them were... It's the oral tradition. That's a lot of folk music. Someone sings it, someone else hears it and learns it. It changes it changes a little bit, and then someone else learns it off that person who changed it, and then it changes again, and so it goes on. And 300 years later, it's nothing like how it started. It's a long form of Chinese whispers, I suppose. And so I was trying to find, see if there was any indication about the actual Sheffield Park that this song has its title. But it has no relation to the actual song, apart from the first line. It's one of those Once Upon a Time. It's in Sheffield Park, blah, 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 and the rest of the song. And so there's a Sheffield Park country estate in Sussex. I'm from Sussex, so I found that quite interesting. And I'm not. Yes. and so, but where was I going with that? This version was collected from a singer in Hampshire. And Bob Copper, who was a singer from Sussex and also a folk song collector in his own right, collected a different version from Hampshire, from a different singer who lived about 50 miles away from the first singer. But that second singer pronounced it as Sherfield Park, and there is a town called Sherfield in Hampshire. But that's where the research kind of stopped. And the answer we almost always come to is... we don't know.
Yeah, you often find that you end up knowing less after... The more research you do... Chris, you'll probably know this. The more research you do, the less you know. And we were playing at Cecil Sharp House in London yesterday, where they have the Vaughan Williams Memorial Library. And a couple of the librarians came to our gig, and we were saying about this, we said to them, do you find that people kind of get stressed out because they think they know this stuff, and then they come and do research in the library, and they leave knowing less, and they're really stressed out? And the librarians looked at us, and they went... Yes, in fact, that's our mission statement. So anyway, we'll leave you with this one, the title track of the new album, Sheffield Park. And massive thank you to everybody who's tuned in online. It's been great to see you. And yes, thank you for tuning in. I don't know which camera you've got on, but all of them. Well, thank you for tuning in.
I think you waved at a screen just now.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That is a screen. And we will see you after the interval.
We're 6 gigs into a week run of tour here. It's all right.
Here's
Anyway.
Sheffield Park.
Right. In Sheffield Park, oh there did dwell a brisk young lad, I know him well. He courted me, my heart to gain, but he's gone and left me full of pain. He's gone and left me full of pain. I went upstairs to make my bed, laid myself down, but nothing said. My mistress came to my bedside. What is the matter with you, my maid? What is the matter with you, my maid? Oh, mistress, mistress, you little know the pain and sorrow I undergo. Just clap your hand to my left breast. My aching heart can take no rest. My aching heart can take no rest. My mistress goes from my bedside. Some help, for you I'll find. No help, no help, no help I crave. Sweet William has brought me to my grave. Sweet William has brought me to my grave. Now take this letter immediately and give it to him if he can read. Send me an answer without delay, for he thinks he stole my heart away. He thinks he stole my heart away. He took the letter immediately and read it while the maid sat by. Soon as he read the letter he burned. I take delightful to hear her mourn. I take delightful to hear her mourn. How could my love so foolish be, to think I love no one but she? Man is not meant for one alone. I take delightful to hear her mourn. I take delightful to hear her mourn. A false young man, I found the art. It's thou that broke my young child's heart. In Abram's bosom she shall sleep, whilst thy tormenting soul doth weep. Whilst thy tormenting soul doth weep. They gathered green grass for her bed, and a flowery pillow for her head, and the leaves that fall from tree to tree shall be the covering over she. Shall be the covering over she. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
George Sansome and Matt Quinn, everybody. Fabulous stuff. I just loved that. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. Can we also thank, please, Jason Ajax Wisteria, who for his poem, yeah, and Bob Kenwood as well for his song. Now, Bob is going to be doing a gig here on December the 14th. So, yeah. And obviously, I need to say thank you to tonight's team, to Andrew and to Phil and to John, to Chris and Jodie up there doing, and in her pinny at the bar, Una. Now. And Lizzie in Galashiels. She's having the night off, actually, but never mind. Next week, we have Edwina Hayes here, who is rather fabulous. Yep. And the following week, we have Naomi Bedford and Paul Simmons, who are good as well. They have very nice harmonies and that. And then Alden and Patterson, with their baby. Yep. And then the Nunhead Folk Circle, who are fascinating. Yeah, now they're great. They're very, very brave because they hand out percussion instruments to the audience. How brave is that? Yeah, fantastic. And George is actually coming back in November with Sophie Crawford, so watch out for that as well. And he's going to be doing a workshop when he comes back, so that's going to be great. So, let's just say thank you again for this first half to George and Matt. And thank you for supporting live music. Watch us next week. Please come back. My name's Maura Butler. This is Rosalind Court. Thank you very much. See you soon. Bye.